Hi everyone, it's Harry here from Year 13 and I have Svetlana Dias here with me on behalf of Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand, a member-based organisation that works to advocate for financial professionals, supporting them to make a difference to the businesses, organisation and communities in which they work and live. So Svetlana, thank you so much for joining us today. I guess if we could start off by just hearing a little bit about yourself and what you're up to at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hello everyone. My name is Svetlana. I am studying a Bachelor of Commerce, Accounting and Business Finance at the University of South Australia. I'm in my third year and I currently have about 3 jobs going on at uni. So I'm obsessed with work and life balance, which is why I have a couple of jobs while I'm doing uni. So I work at Chartered Accountants Australia, as I said before, as a student representative. So basically we just go up to career fairs and career events and talk to students about why doing a CA is something that they could consider after graduation. Basically what a CA is, it's a qualification after graduation. So it's like a master's degree, but for accounting and finance students.
Right.
Yeah, another job that I do have is a PASS leader at UniSA. So PASS stands for Peer Assisted Study Session. So it's more of a facilitation session kind of than a tutoring session for a lot of the first year or second year students that are struggling or have any challenges with core subjects as a first year student. And the other job that I have is more of a casual job at the Cheesecake Shop. So I work as a customer service representative. So just serving customers and decorating cakes here and then. So yeah, I work around that job about 3 to 4 times a week. And yeah, that's my busy lifestyle. And yeah.
Wow. Well, we're quite honoured to have your time for this webinar. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. Yeah, well done to you for juggling all those roles and study. It's a testament to you. So well done. On the topic of school and what kind of led you into study at university, can you please detail some of these subjects or areas of study when you were at high school that prepared you for your current position at university?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm studying commerce and finance, like I mentioned before. So a lot of the subjects that I undertook at high school related to that specifically. So I did accounting and business and enterprise in year 11 and 12. And I think that really helped me, I guess, navigate a lot of the introductory courses that they had and they offered at university in the accounting degree itself. I think it's always useful to have an idea of not exactly, but maybe just an idea of what you want to study at university, even if it's like a minute idea. I think doing a lot of the generalized subjects at high school can really help with university. So for example, if you were doing some type of medical degree or you're doing radiation degree, you do some sort of science subjects, whether it's biology, chemistry or physics or nutrition or whatever throughout high school. And that'll really help you get the foundations to a lot of the first year courses that they offer at university. Because at university, things are just accelerated. And I found that out after doing my degree because a lot of the stuff that they go through in high school in year 11 and 12, say for accounting, they do in like 6 months at university.
Wow. Okay.
It's really accelerated. So it's a very independent style of learning as well. So in comparison to high school.
Okay, brilliant. So it is important to kind of look at those preliminary study kind of options. Or I guess the other opportunity would be to do like a bridging course or something of that nature.
Yeah, I know a few of my friends, they did a lot of like vet courses while they were at high school, which really helped them when they went to university. And I also think that even if you don't know what exactly you want to do at university, so say, for example, you want to do some sort of science, but you also want to do business, but you also want to do like journalism or something, when you're in high school, do subjects like commerce, do subjects that biology, do subjects like English. That's like a combination of those 3 degrees.
Yes.
So when you go to university.
Of course. Those vet pathway courses I've heard are very, there's a lot of potential there for a connection point of view to university. Did you have experience yourself in any sort of vet studies whilst at school?
I personally didn't do any vet studies, but I know that a few of my friends did, and university values that a lot because it's a lot of, it's showing initiative before you even go to university. I think
Absolutely.
That's the main, and they value that more than anything. So I think if you are doing a vet course, it'll definitely help you at university. It will set you above other students that are just coming straight out of high school as well, without.
Fantastic. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so we know where you are at the moment, the jobs you have, both part-time casual roles, other roles that are more in line with your future career aspirations, your study requirements as well. But what we don't kind of know just yet and love to get an understanding of is your story before this. So what kind of, what was your journey after school? I know you had an inclination and an interest to go into finance and accounting at school, but was there a period, between that or leading up to year 12, you had some uncertainty, or was there any sort of key moment that made you go, this is exactly what I want to do?
Yeah, I'm the most indecisive person in the world. So being exposed to so many different careers is quite overwhelming, and people don't realize how overwhelming it is for a student to be exposed to all these different careers. And we would always have the normal career counsellors talking about all the different subjects that are available or courses that are available to study. Or you have your career fairs where the army would come through and somebody from finance and somebody from medicine would come through and have a chat to you. And those were all, I would always listen to them and just take in the information, but I still never was like, this is what I want to do. This is something that, I want to get into kind of thing. And then suddenly when I was doing a lot of my year 10 and year 11 subjects, I figured out my strengths and weaknesses. So what subjects I was good at, what subjects I liked, and what subjects I completely didn't like at all. And I think that's really important because you don't want to end up doing something that you don't enjoy doing just for the sake of doing it, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I realised that science was something that I liked, but I also liked business. And so I was like, okay, these are the two possible options that I could do after university. So my journey studying through high school and then getting my ATAR and then going to university was it was a roller coaster. It was terrible at some point in time. Like I said, I did a few science subjects and my first preference to get into university was actually to study radiation therapy. So it wasn't commerce.
Wow.
And my second preference was commerce and finance. And so when I got my ATAR, I was a point below the score that they required for radiation therapy. So and you kind of know when you get your ATAR whether you're going to get into the course or not. And I was like, Surely not. They're not going to not take me just because of 1 point. They didn't take me. So I didn't get into radiation therapy, unfortunately. So I went to commerce, which was fine. And I went through the degree and I was still stuck on radiation therapy. I still really wanted to do radiation therapy even after I went into my commerce degree. Right. So I kind of said, I'll just go for the first 6 months of my degree, see if I kind of like commerce or if I enjoy doing it, which I knew I did, but I just wanted to make sure. And then I would get my GPA up, which is like your grade point average at university, and then swap degrees, so swap to radiation therapy.
Yes.
And I did the first 6 months and I loved it. I couldn't even imagine doing radiation therapy or any science degree at the moment now. Because I loved accounting and I loved finance. And I think doing it at university just, I guess, enhanced that idea of that's what I want to do in the future as well. And I have my mum and dad, my dad specifically is very into numbers and finance and things like that. So I think that was also really good, was having him there, because he would always, tell me these are the career prospects you can get into. And even at high school, when the universities used to kind of come to our school and talk about all the different courses available, that was always good to be able to, I guess, hear from a student's perspective at university, what they're kind of studying and whether they like their degree and so on and so forth. But that was my journey. But now I couldn't imagine doing radiation therapy at all.
Yeah. No, but thank you for sharing that. It's not inconsistent with what we've heard from other people at university or who have finished university many years ago. And thank you for sharing that. So, looking more on a day-to-day scale at the moment, what's a day in the life of your course look like? So outside of STUVAC, which you're on at the moment, when you're on campus studying, what does a day in the life kind of look like for you?
Yeah, so I kind of strive to achieve a work-life balance, as I mentioned before, and hence I use the word strive because sometimes it just becomes slack and you just don't do it. But I usually start the day, I start the day at 7:30. I'll wake up, I have a cup of tea, not really a coffee kind of person, which I know a lot of people are. But I kind of like to set my uni timetable so that I have all my subjects in the mornings, say from 9 o'clock onwards, and then I can work in the evening and do whatever else I need to do in the evening. My brain kind of shuts off at 10 o'clock. So like some people like to study and do work throughout the night or whatever. I can't do that. It's not me. Like I'd rather do work in the morning. That's when my brain is most active and I have the most energy to actually get stuff done.
Brilliant.
So I like to also keep a diary. This sounds so cliche, but I'll keep a diary just to write down what needs to be done. I think that really helps me visualize what I need to do in the day. And then I'm not too stressed and I don't get too overwhelmed about, everything that needs to be done within the week or stuff. So I'll have my classes in a normal day from about 9 till 12.
Okay.
Got a lot of classes then. And then I'll usually have my pass sessions, which run from about 12 to 4. So that's just helping students do the sessions about any questions or queries they have. And then I usually come home at about 4 or 5, and then I'll do a lot of uni assignments. I'll just catch up on assignments and work. So I think what has really helped me is being really organized and knowing what you need to do, because I feel like if you because you get overwhelmed as a university student with all the stuff that needs to be done. So definitely being organized, knowing that this is what you have to do. I'm such a nerd because I start my university assignments like 2 or 3 weeks before it's due. But that's because I don't want to stress at the end.
Yes, yeah.
With stress, and that's why I'm trying to avoid that or mitigate that situation, I guess. That's what I do on a day-to-day basis. And every day that I'm not at university, I will be at work, so at the Cheesecake Shop. So I go to university Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, I'll be at work at the Cheesecake Shop. That's my week. That's my day.
Good on you. That's great. And there's some good advice there for, staying on top of it, starting early. I know some people do tend to do better under pressure, but I think there's, you don't always look out what's going to be in 3 weeks' time. You might have other assignments due, other assignments to start. Some great advice, and thank you for sharing that. So with your degree of finance and accounting, what about that? I know you love numbers and you love the business side of it. But knowing that you want to one day become a chartered accountant, what about the degree at the moment and your studies kind of excite you for that? And, what about that gives you confidence that it's the right kind of path?
So I've always had a passion for customer service and helping people. So everyone always stereotypes accountants to be boring and kind of into numbers and sitting at the office desk all day. But what people don't know is that accounting is actually requires a lot of numerous client interaction. So that's why I'm currently a student rep at Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand. So my job solely focuses on interacting with a lot of students, whether they're in their first years or their last years or their mature age students, telling them why accounting and finance is, I guess, such an innovative and diverse industry to study in. What I also love about the actual degree is that if you want to become, say, an accountant, you don't have to focus on just the numbers. Like you can become a financial accountant, you can become an environmental accountant, you can become an auditor. There's so many different pathways to go down that get you to the same point as anybody else would be if they were becoming an accountant. You're just a different type of accountant. And that's what I think is right, because you can specialize, which is what I want to do eventually. I want to specialize into an auditing degree, so become an auditor. And I think that's what I really, really love most about the degree, is definitely helping the people, but also how diverse it can be. Because if you say you're doing auditing for 5 years and you don't like it, you can move to a different section of accounting. You can become an environmental accountant. You can become a financial accountant. So
fantastic. You raise a valid point there, that there is this idea that accountancy and being an accountant could be a dry profession, but what you mentioned about it's very personable and it's predicated on customer service and ensuring that your client is supported through what typically is a challenging period, because money often follows those times, be it business auditing or personal finance. So I think it's great to hear that you've got some pure intentions and that you really enjoy what that kind of industry can offer you. So I wish you all the luck in your endeavors in being a chartered accountant one day, no doubt. So, we see we've heard what you love about university and how that kind of excites you for a career in finance and accounting and one day being a chartered accountant. What personal attributes do you think you possess that have helped you both get where you are today and will get you where you want to be in the future?
I think there are a few that come to mind. One specifically is resilience and persistence. I don't think people actually understand the importance of being able to adapt to a lot of changes, especially and moving forward, I guess, besides being sticking or staying backwards. So everybody has failures and everybody fails and everybody makes mistakes. That's the whole point. That's how you learn things and that's how you grow as a person.
Of course.
Able to, I guess, fall down but move back up and kind of continue doing what you're doing and still have the same goal in mind. You can always adjust your goal if you need to, but being able to get back on track, from whatever that you've gone through before. And I also think another important one is criticizing yourself. And I mean this in the nicest possible way. But just criticizing yourself to become better. So, for example, I've had a lot of interviews for jobs, and every time that I finish an interview and I say don't get a job, I will always go back and think about, what I did that was wrong. And then I'd be like, oh, I didn't speak very well, or I didn't make enough eye contact. That was really important as well. And so criticizing yourself is really important to make yourself better and to be the best that you want to be for whenever you do whatever you want to do. So I think that's really important. Another thing that people tend to forget about is having a positive mindset or a growth mindset. Mm-hmm. That's important. I feel like having a positive mindset really helps you get into the right zone. It helps you get out of a fixed mindset where you're only fixed is like you're only thinking about one particular thing in one particular way. Growth mindset is you're thinking about all the possible ways or all the possible options that are available to you. I think that when I didn't get into my radiology degree, I was pretty disheartened and it was sad and it set me back. Like, I'll be very honest, it set me back from university. Like I wasn't as excited to go to university doing a commerce degree or starting a commerce degree as I would have been starting a radiology degree. And I think after the 6 months, I kind of said to myself, you need to snap out of it because you're getting nowhere with this negative mindset. And so I think that if I had to stay in that mindset, I probably wouldn't have been where I'm at today. So definitely having a positive and a growth mindset is really important. And then also just in terms of if you're doing an accounting or finance degree, customer service. So being able to communicate with people, that's really important. Actually, that's important in any industry, being able to communicate with people. And I think that after doing PASS and after doing CA, you speak to a lot of students where there's a language barrier. So if you had to ask me when I first started uni or if I was at high school, if I could have a proper conversation, breaking a language barrier with an international student, for example, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it. And having that experience now through my jobs, I have been able to communicate with people that have language barriers, and I've been able to get a good conversation out of that. And I've been able to understand as well the point of the conversation. But also, along with customer service, having the best interest for your clients when you do your jobs. And obviously that's when you work, but even when you're working with students, having their best interests at heart, being able to help them out. I think that's really important. And that's what's helped me succeed in my role that I'm doing today.
There's some fantastic attributes and skills that you have. Being resilient is a huge one, I think, especially in not only this market, but what we experienced last year.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest things the world faced together, to understand that resilience is the key to moving forward. And that growth mindset as well is super important. I wish I had that, both idea of what it was, but also the openness personally to think that way when I was your age. So again, very impressive. Moving on to the next question, I'd love to kind of hear about achievements, both personal, career-based, study-based, that you've kind of achieved to date.
Yeah, I think the greatest achievement study-based I'll start with, or academically, was I recently got an internship at Deloitte, which is a really big accounting firm.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And so that was a big thing for me as a third year student. So I got an internship for summer for next year. It was a really long process to get to it, and I 100% failed previously in the previous years. And so, like, when I first started university, I applied for this thing called SCA Achievers Program, which is obviously held by Chartered Accountants Australia. And it's like a long recruitment process, and you get to speak to employers, rather they ask you questions, you do a case study. It's like a proper recruitment process. And then at the end of it, you could possibly get an internship with, an accounting firm or a finance firm. And unfortunately, I didn't get through the first time when I did the assessment centre. And so I kind of just went on every single year and redid it. Still didn't get through, and I kept trying. And so the third year, which was this year, I applied to Deloitte, and so I got through. So that was a really big achievement for me. It was a really big step forward, because now I'm on track to graduating and getting into a graduate role when I do graduate. So yes, that's definitely something academically. Personally, I just got my citizenship, so that was really exciting.
Well done.
Yeah, so that was something good, a little bit of a good thing in the midst of all the university and work stuff. But yeah, so that was definitely some of my greatest achievements so far.
Great. And on the other hand, some of the biggest challenges. So I know, obviously, intending to do radiotherapy and then that not kind of coming to fruition. Has there been any other challenges? It could be, I know you've got a lot of kind of extracurricular, both, jobs and committees and things you're a part of. Is that quite challenging, trying to juggle all those things?
Yeah, it definitely can be. It can get quite overwhelming as well. I've taken, for some reason, I've taken more things on this year. And so doing university and doing work can be quite challenging. I feel like you have to put in some long nights, and you have to put in, I guess, extra. I put in a lot of hard work to get to where I want to be. And the only reason I'm doing all these things is obviously, yes, to help people, but I know that it will set me apart from other people when I do apply for graduate roles after I graduate.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think in terms of academically, that's a challenge that I face. But personally, I think the biggest challenge that I faced was when I moved to Australia. So I moved in 2016 to Australia from Dubai. And it was really hard to just find my ground because I knew no one and I had to make new friends. So thankfully I had my family with me, which was good. But it was starting like from scratch, and going through high school and then university. So I definitely worked a lot harder than I feel like a lot of other students, because I knew that I wanted to achieve my best. And so I think my drive and motivation played a massive role in where I'm at now. And if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now.
Fantastic. Yeah, I can see that it's kind of all paid off for you. So well done. And I can definitely, even personally know that the more you take on, and gradually, ideally, it does prepare you for the future when you do have more responsibilities, the capacity for, your capacity to take additional, work on, or additional responsibilities or commitments that kind of expands. So it's nice to see that and to hear that you are testing those waters at university and kind of working out your parameters of what is possible to, from a work-life balance point of view, but also to pursue your studies and, personal interests and career interests. So that's fantastic to hear. I think we should finish up shortly, but there's one last question I have for you. And that is, I know you speak about this a lot, both to existing students and mature students and people with part of the accounting and finance industry. If you could kind of package up one piece of advice for those students or those individuals looking into an industry, studying in the accounting and finance or working in the accounting and finance industry, what would that be? What would your kind of, leaving words be to them?
I think do what you want to do because you enjoy doing it, not because you have to do it. I think also for students that are leaving high school, just because you have a high ATAR doesn't mean that you have to pick a degree with that requires a high ATAR. I got a high ATAR and I picked a degree in the 60s and 70s. So that says a lot. And so that's what I'm saying. So also when you're at university, for students that are at university or even mature age students, get involved in extracurriculars, because that's what employers, I've seen at least, that's what employers look for along with your university studies. If you have a student that's just done university, that's great. But if you have a student that's done university and all these other extracurricular activities that back them, it gives rise to all those soft skills that employers are looking for as well. I think when I'm at university and I did I'm a CA student rep. So that helps me get other people to join and become, I guess, CA student affiliates. So they join CA, and then CA releases, when they're having their next networking event and stuff. So just get involved, like go to these events, go meet people. Networking, that's really important as well. Especially when you're in an accounting and finance degree, networking is key, because that's how you find jobs. That's how you get employers talking about you. But I guess the main thing is just definitely do what you do because you enjoy doing it, and not just because, you just kind of want to do it. It's because you like doing it. You like helping people. I like helping people. That's why I'm doing my accounting degree.
Brilliant. That's great. Yes. Have the right intention, really kind of, as we said before, expand your horizons as far as responsibility and involvement. And that would, really help you kind of go into the workforce and the industry with a better opportunity of being, I guess, both hired at a company or an organization of your choosing. So that's really fantastic advice. Wow, really, Svetlana, that was fantastic. And thank you so much for telling your story and offering your opinion and advice on all things accounting and finance. I'd also obviously like to thank Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand for providing this opportunity. So Svetlana, thanks again. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, and I hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.